The force of the slide was so great, the homeowner says that the house was knocked about 7 to 8 feet off the foundation. You can see this wheelchair ramp is nowhere where it's supposed to be. It's nearly 90 degrees today here at the Racine Pool in Boone County, but look around. This is not what you would typically see on a hot day like today. Look how much ice is on the Kanawha River right now. To give you an idea of just how thick this ice is, this is a piece of ice that our photojournalist took from the river. I would say it's a good 2.5 to 3 inches thick. This is a water distribution site. As you can see behind me, bottled water is waiting for those who need it tonight. Now, earlier this was a Red Cross shelter where people were coming who had been forced to evacuate yesterday afternoon and late last night. Those cots have been moved out. We are told that CSX has put those people that still need a place to stay into hotels this evening. Now, tonight we hear from those forced from their homes and those who took a chance going home last night only to be met with a second blast 10 hours after that initial derailment.
Oh, this is, oh my God.
Today, charges that accused former Principal Clinton Giles of waiting too long to report the alleged rape in his school were dropped. Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin has been following this story since the very beginning and is live now with more from inside that heated hearing and with that never-before-seen video that started it all. Leslie.
Callie, this video may be considered disturbing to some, but we have not identified the victim. The video shows what we have reported by police and prosecutors in the past, the struggle before 17-year-old Dallas King forced another student to have sex with him. This is the video from 7:51 in the morning on January 26. Dallas King and the 15-year-old victim enter the stairwell and King is seen slamming the girl on the floor and dragging her underneath the stairs. Both are there for about 13 minutes before she leaves and goes up the stairs, and King leaves out of a separate door. King was charged with second-degree sexual assault but was transferred to adult status and pleaded guilty yesterday to a lesser charge of first-degree sexual abuse. He admitted that he forced the girl to have sex with him that morning. King was a member of the football and basketball teams and had also been accused in a separate sexual assault incident at the school that was unfounded. Giles was charged for not immediately reporting that incident, but today Giles called the situation an obvious rush to judgment that was followed by an unprecedented level of character assassination. And although the charges have been dropped, he says the terrible experience is not quite over yet.
There never was a case against me.
Becoming emotional and pausing to gain his composure at times, former Capitol High School Principal Clinton Giles says he knew from the beginning he had done nothing wrong, but he was charged and wrongfully prosecuted anyway.
Only through malicious intent could this have happened. We should all shudder to think that this was a mere mistake.
Judge Carrie Webster agreed to drop the misdemeanor charge of failure to report a sexual assault that could have landed Giles in jail for 30 days. The principal became aware of the allegations at the end of the school day on January 26th, but waited until the next day to view this surveillance video, which then prompted him to call the police. Giles' attorney Jim Cagle says the former mandatory reporting law did not apply to this case, and he questions the rush to judgment.
This thing has spiraled out of hand, injuring the reputation of a fine man, a man dedicated to his school, dedicated to his students. But the point is that there was no crime.
Prosecutor Chuck Miller contends common sense should have led Giles to immediately report the incident so that evidence could be preserved, but did not object to the charges being thrown out.
After we filed these charges, we became aware that there was a great deal of confusion and miscommunication, perhaps, with respect to what the law required.
The legislature rewrote the law Giles was charged under in an effort to clarify and strengthen it. However, Giles says the situation is not over, and he's eager for all of the facts to be revealed.
The obvious rush to judgment against me has been followed by an unprecedented level of character assassination that amounts to a modern-day witch hunt. The question, why the rush to judgment in the first place, begs an answer not just for me, but for every tax-paying citizen in Kanawha County.
Giles's attorney believed prosecutors broke ethical obligations, but Judge Webster said she would not take that up and asked him to contact the ODC if he wished to pursue anything further. Reporting live in the studio, Leslie Rubin, Eyewitness News.
Charleston has the largest city council in the state. That's not that out of the realm of possibility, but the number of members actually rivals some of the biggest cities in the country.
Yeah, but why? What's it costing you, and could things be better managed with less members? Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin has been looking into this issue. She joins us now with what she found out. Leslie.
In part, council was so large because it's neighborhood-based. Charleston's population was more than 85,000 in the 1960s, but has drastically declined. But when Charleston was growing, and even then after, the city continued to add wards. There were 17 in 1929. There are 20 today, plus 6 at-large positions on city council. No doubt a lot of representation for a city of its size. Welcome to Charleston. Population roughly 51,300. City council size 26? Doesn't that seem a little large?
Large is relative to what, other city councils? So what? It works for us.
Compared to the largest 50 cities in the United States, only 5 of those have councils with more members than Charleston.
We've got a little mini legislature going here. Every person in this city has a council member that they share with 2,500, 2,400 other people. Plus they've got 6 at-large council members. I think it works great.
But what about the cost, the budget, the money? Wouldn't it cost a fortune to pay 26 people every year?
These people don't make any money.
In Charleston, council members are paid $200 a meeting. That's $5,200 a year for a combined total of $135,200.
What's wrong with it? It's not that much money.
We're not paid at all for all the other meetings we go to or committee meetings or whatever. It really is a public service volunteer opportunity to serve on Charleston City Council.
In larger cities, being a city council member is a full-time job with a hefty paycheck, some earning more than members of Congress. Los Angeles, for instance, each of their 15 members gets paid more than $180,000 a year, and they each have large staffs that cost taxpayers quite the pretty penny. Okay, so we're not LA, but what about Huntington, the state's second largest city, coming in at just a couple thousand fewer people than Charleston, has an 11-member city council that makes $7,200 a year for a grand total of $79,200 out of the city's budget, $56,000 less than what Charleston pays.
Having the smaller body to work with, it probably does make us run a little more efficiently. You know, our budget is about half of Charleston's with the same population.
So yes, Charleston could essentially save some money by cutting some members, but one of the pros of a large city council that everyone interviewed for this story agreed on is that there's more representation for each citizen.
Do you happen to know who your city council person is for your ward?
I can't remember it right off.
He run unopposed, so I didn't pay no attention.
That's sad, ain't it? Yeah, that's probably him.
So maybe not everyone knows who's representing them at the meetings twice a month, but what about the management? How can 26 people agree on anything?
All of those meetings dealing with very hard issues, we have come to consensus. We have agreed on and been able to deal with the problems and opportunities that we're faced with. Now, not everybody's happy with them, but that's not, you know, if you have 7 people, not everybody's going to be happy.
Is it hard to manage as a mayor?
Nope.
Why?
Why should it be?
Well, I mean, with such a large, with the large number of people, we got a lot of different opinions. Does that make it difficult?
No, not for me. It works for me, and I like a lot of different opinions.
Becky Sepperly has only been on council less than a year and says she was one of the ones who thought going in that it was just too big. But her feelings have changed now that she sees how things operate.
Is there an ideal number? I don't think so. But I wouldn't want it to get any larger because it can get unwieldy. And I think less than, say, 13, less than half of what we have, then we're not going to be able to represent all the diversity.
They used to complain to me, and most of them aren't from the city. But if they are from the city and they want to change the size of council, they ought to run for council. And then they'd come here and they'd see how well it works, and then they'd change their mind.
We compiled responses from other members of City Council who responded to questions about City Council's size. You can read them on our website at WCHS-TV.com. Reporting in the studio, Leslie Rubin, Eyewitness News.